you'd have to worry about at our end would be to have a way to have the chat, and they have chat on their live stream. It's just not necessarily used that often, but if somebody was monitoring that while they were doing the recording, then that could work.
Okay,
and I'd be happy to work with Nikki on that.
I think we need to have, Ken, I think we need to have a conversation with Nikki about that versus Zoom versus BSC's approach to using their Zoom, a more sophisticated Zoom approach than anything that either the town or I have.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
So Heather, who's on point to have that conversation? Pam, you'll have to be in the middle of this. Do you know Nikki? Have you met her yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, it's a great opportunity.
You can just walk down the street.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't necessarily hang out down there
right
during the day all the time because it's not necessary. There's more of a work from home, but still we can easily arrange to get together. That's not a problem.
Right.
Okay.
I'd be happy to talk with Nikki and work out with her sometime, Pam, that it makes sense to sit down and talk about the alternatives.
We have done it both ways, where we've either been the host for the meeting or the local government access channel, cable access channel, has been the host, and we've had somebody on our end in the background kind of monitoring, like, you know, you can be co-administrators. So and we, you know, all of the security measures in terms of settings and making sure people don't have access to certain things, we can take care of that all as well. So happy to be involved in that conversation and figure something out that works for everyone.
Okay, so who's on point to pull that together?
If somebody wants to make an intro for me, then we can coordinate, make sure Pam's on that as well.
Okay, Ken, can you set up a call with
Heather
and Pam and you and Nikki and figure out how we're going to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, and that, you know, we have 4 weeks to pull this off, so that ought to happen fairly soon.
I'll probably do it Monday.
Okay, and that will have to be an element of publicity so that people understand how that's going to work. So it's, you know, sooner than later, so that we can get that incorporated in our publicity. Okay, now that takes care of the AV element of this and the timing and the location. I think we need to make sure that Florence Sawyer is happy with this approach. And let's talk about facilitation, Heather.
So what we were.
Sorry, I just have a quick question about, do you think that having that Zoom element advertised will incentivize people to not show up in person and only join on Zoom? I don't want that to inhibit our turnout as well, although I can understand why it's important to tell people.
Well, you know, it's
always an argument, but
it's always an argument.
I think you got to do them both ways, and I think you'll get the people there that you want to have there, and give other people an opportunity to see it either live because they couldn't get there, or follow up seeing it and provide feedback. So I think we see one of the things that Nikki and company do is live stream concerts for the band that I'm in. And that's one of the arguments that we always discuss is, are people not going to come to the concert because they can stay home and watch? And I think the answer is, generally speaking, no, that if they're going to come, they're going to come. And if they, but it does open it up to people who wouldn't normally be able to do it. And I think it's exactly the same in this case, that if you do have somebody who works late, let's say they get home at 10 minutes of 7 and they couldn't get a babysitter or whatever, then they can tune in and watch it easily and not have to necessarily worry about coming out or whatever.
Well, I think we have to emphasize also that this is not necessarily a spectator sport. that we're gonna have facilitation, and it's a two-way street, that people will be able to provide input.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
think
do
having-
know that
Yep.
with the Zooms that we had with the high school, as far as the planning was concerned, that worked out fairly well. That we did have a chat, and there was quite a bit of conversation through the chat.
Yes, having multiple options, I think, is a good idea. It's about accessibility too. Some people might not be able to show up because of, like transportation or babysitting and things like that. So I think it gives them an opportunity to participate without having those who have barriers to come.
Okay,
Bob, we know that Florence Sawyer is available on Monday.
no,
Okay,
that's my go-to tomorrow morning about 8:30.
okay, because I know that a lot of times the school is not gung ho. Things going on during the week, so maybe we should have a thought of where else we might be able to do it.
Well, I mean, yes, and we could do it in Davis Hall, and if I get feedback from Florence Sawyer tomorrow, questionable, I will immediately start following up with Davis Hall, which I would assume will be more available. But
I
again,
I can
with
check
Davis
with the
Hall-
church leadership.
I'm sorry.
I can check with the church leadership. I have a very active relationship with them.
Okay, I think it would be worthwhile to do that in parallel then?
Well, yep.
Or just call Shirley, Ed.
Yeah,
Well,
He's the one who runs the place anyhow.
under orders from other people. Okay.
okay, getting back to facilitation, Heather.
Yeah, so what we have done in the past in terms of wanting to have smaller group discussions is we provide our staff with direction on what the content is and certain questions to ask and certain ways to prompt people to kind of speak how they feel and give their opinion and sometimes not necessarily shut people down, but give others the option who may be more quiet to give their feedback. What we try to do is when people walk in and sign in the sign-in sheet, we give them a dot. And the dot is a certain color. So if there's 4 groups, if we expect that we're going to have maybe 40 people there, well, it'll probably be more than 4 groups at that point. But say we have 40 people there and you want to do 8 people to a group, we would have 8 different colors and we would give one person a red and the next person a green. And then we would have certain tables with those associated colors. So people aren't able to kind of pick and choose where they want to sit. We request them to follow that kind of color format and go to the table where they are. We would then have, the facilitated discussions and we would have big pads of paper and write notes and have somebody be a note taker. And after the conversation happens and the discussion happens and the feedback's all received, we would then come back together as one group and we would report back. So this group talked about this, here's what we're really focused on, here's what we thought, and we'd go around and do it that way. Looking at a Zoom component of it, perhaps there's an opportunity to kind of mute one side or the other or both and have somebody who's online facilitating some kind of discussion online with the folks who are online as well. And then we would just, have enough of people there with their information that we could continue conversations moving forward. We could direct them to the Conveyo website to add more feedback. And I'm going to turn it over to Olivia now because I know that she's prepared a couple of things to review with the group regarding the content of the meeting. So go ahead, Olivia.
Sure. Don't think I can share, but that's not super important for this content. But maybe in a couple minutes, if I could be able to share my screen, that would be great.
Go ahead, Olivia. I just assigned you.
Just some notes jotted down, but as far as the forum structure goes, like Heather mentioned, we're hoping to cover all of the master plan topics instead of breaking them up like we discussed before. That's because we think that if we give folks the opportunity to come out to one meeting, then we can attempt to review those goals and cover all of our bases in one go versus having people have to return for a second meeting It gives people a little more flexibility that way. And so as they would come in, randomly assigned to tables, where we would have the smaller group goal discussion, which I would estimate to be around an hour. But that could be flexible, and then followed by the group sharing. We're hoping to have some interactive maps and information around the room, some larger boards hosting the goals that we have shared with you. And then also, there's a online element that we have been working on, which is a crowd map. And Oxa will talk about that in a little bit. But we would hand out a QR code that would take folks to this tool. And then we would also give them handouts of the goals and a one-pager. We've also, we're hoping that during the small group discussion, the goals will prompt enough conversation, but if we need some more guided questions, we've also prepared those in the case that folks aren't feeling super inspired to talk about anything or need a little bit more guidance along the way. So that can help structure some of the conversation.
I'm how do you deal with people on Zoom when it comes to the information boards around the room, as it were?
Right, those could be posted on Conveo, and it could all just be under one tab, labeled public forum materials, and they can just scroll through them. And they can also provide feedback on Conveo, so that's pretty seamless there. They would just have to go to a separate website to view those in the moment.
Yeah, that sounds potentially a little bit confusing, in that people are going to be looking at the live stream and at the same time try to bring up a website and look at things on that.
Right. Well, it's the information around the room would be more supplemental, and there might be some prompts for people to engage in or maps to view, but that wouldn't necessarily be like integral to the smaller discussions. I think they would be more supplementary information if people are curious to learn more or just engage at that further step. So that I don't think is totally, necessary for the smaller discussions for them to have to leave the Zoom.
But the related question there, though, is in the Zoom, do you move from group to group or pick one, or how would that be handled?
So we would be covering all of the topics and goals. So there wouldn't necessarily.
So you don't need to go group to group then.
Yeah,
Okay.
hopefully, unless there's a overwhelming number of people on Zoom, hopefully that could just be kind of its own smaller group.
So it's a separate group. Okay.
Okay, so the Zoom group is going to effectively be another group,
Right.
right?
Yeah, it would be, it'd be too hard to have everybody in a different group on Zoom.
So green, yellow, blue, red, Zoom.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And it would be handled essentially the way one of the other groups, and hopefully it wouldn't be overwhelmingly populated, but.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, but so one of the facilitators would be in the camera on the Zoom and be leading the discussion.
Right, that's what I would understand.
Yeah, I guess that could work.
Yeah, as long as it's just, dare I say just, but another group in a different medium.
Right.
Okay.
Any other thoughts on the structure? I think I forgot to mention at the very beginning, obviously BSC, we would like introduce ourselves and give an update on some of the resources that we have, existing conditions, and where the project is headed. So that would start the meeting off and would probably be a quick 15-minute conversation so we can jump into the groups.
Would it be, and again, depending on how we feel about the status of the existing conditions. Would it be worthwhile giving visibility to that so that those who are really interested are going to be able to spend a little bit of time looking at existing conditions, which will inform them as to intelligent conversation?
Yeah, I would hope, yeah, hopefully we can get the existing conditions up on Conveo before the forum. And then when we're advertising for the forum, we'll link the Conveo site, and if people are inspired to visit the website and read more before the forum, that would be great. But if they, come to the forum and want to read that as well after, we can definitely advertise that.
Yeah, I think, the existing conditions document is a useful and informative document and indicates progress on the part of the overall project. And I think if we can get people to take a look at it, maybe not read it in depth, but understand that it does address a pretty wide range of things in a fair amount of detail and will help inform them into a conversation during the forum. If we can say that in a short sentence as opposed to what I just said.
Yeah.
It would be very useful.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, gonna make a note of that. So following that up, we put together a flyer. So yeah, kind of highlighting at the top, the steering committee invites you to participate in planning the future of your community. So this is, kind of boilerplate language that we can change at anything. Date, once we, land on a time, we can add that. And then I know we talked about with Pam and Bob, the RSVP element, just to get a sense of how many people are going to come. It's not required, but I think it is helpful, especially for us to know how many print materials to bring and just to get a sense of how many people are actually going to show up.
Is there RSVP going to appear on the Conveo site? How is that going to be handled?
Yep, that can be on the Conveo site. We can put the flyer up on Conveo and then also just link the RSVP on Conveo so people can click on there.
Okay,
I may be able to embed it in the website so it's all on one page, but I'll have to play around with that a little bit. But yeah, folks will just have to scan this. And then, we just put the chapters down below to give people a sense of what is included in the master plan, what we will be talking about. And Pam, so previously with the prior town planner, we had been in talks about including this bit at the bottom that says, if you can't attend, please send your input to the town planner. That can be pushed to Conveo. We can have information on the site, and then if people want to leave feedback, we can leave it there. But initially, Todd was saying that folks could send it to him. So I just left that for now, but if you feel like, you'd rather people just put it on the website, we can definitely do that.
Okay, but the RSVP goes to you and it's invisible to anybody else?
Yes, it does go to me, but, I can give consistent updates.
No, that's fine, just as long as it's reasonably confidential.
Yeah, it is confidential. And then I also think something we can include on here. So we have time where it's happening, a little bit of kind of text that I pulled from the draft language for the newspaper ad. So trying to stay consistent with some of the language we're using. And then, please select the appropriate box below. Yes, I plan to attend. Or no, you can leave your email below. And then we can also add the Zoom element. Say I plan to attend virtually on Zoom, just so we can see how many people are interested in that.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Olivia, on the flyer, can you just make sure to include a note that the RSVP is not required?
Yes.
but indicate that it's there for planning purposes.
Could you also consider putting something that implies the overarching goal of this forum, which is, I think, setting goals?
Yeah.
I mean, I think too many people think this might just be planning for the planning board or planning for, I don't know. I mean, I think it might help if we could tell people that the reason we want them there is because we're setting goals for our town. I mean, isn't that what we're doing, really?
Yeah, that's a terrific point. Why should you come?
I care.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'll add that to
Like, help us set goals for Bolton's future.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think he is right, because most people don't know what a master plan is.
Right. Right.
And the reason we want people's opinion is because we have to have that to make
right.
this work. And, so, yeah, I would don't just say you're invited.
Right.
Tell them we need them,
Mhm. Yeah. I think, yeah, we tried to convey that a little bit better in the newspaper text. I wasn't sure how long we wanted the ad to be. I know they can be a bit costly sometimes, so I tried to limit it and be concise, saying master plan is a long-term planning document that will inform the town's growth and development for the next 10 to 15 years. The plan details historic and current information related to present conditions, needs, long-term challenges, and opportunities. Residents are invited to the upcoming forum to review draft goals, provide local knowledge on community needs, establish priorities, and to help guide future decisions. And then the website at the bottom, so we can direct people somewhere for more information.
Yeah, I would say residents are needed to help, needed at the upcoming farming to draft goals. Or, I mean, I think it's almost like you gotta sound more, not just inviting, but needy.
Directing.
Yep, we can do that for sure.
Yeah, I think, Kia, it's important though that they understand that we have drafted goals and we want their insight, as opposed to
Right, to review,
open-ended.
yeah.
We're not asking you guys to draft goals. We
right,
got
to
a bunch.
review goals then.
Right, yeah,
review goals.
okay.
Mhm.
I think just as written is great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think we need to put a little graphics in there, and then in particular with print media, have that conversation, first of all, with Cindy, and then talk to the folks at the item and see how they want to do them. They seem to do things differently.
Agreed.
For that, I can prepare any type of, document. So just let me know if they prefer like a PDF or any dimensions.
Well, let me look into the files, and I think they're probably write-ups that we have included in print media
Mhm.
that are in the Google Drive. If you look in them, that's what has been accepted and used, particularly in the Independent.
Okay.
And then we send this kind of stuff to Ken Cleveland, and he turns it into an interview and article in the item. So take it, and if you can't find it, let me know and I'll get it to you right away.
Okay. As far as remaining items and anything on BSC's end or from the steering committee, we're thinking that if possible, if anyone has any comments or remaining thoughts about the existing conditions, if that could be shared by Monday.
Yeah.
And you can either send that to Pam or just send it to me. Yeah, that's fine. As far as draft goal comments, oh, Mary?
So I did send you my comments on the
I did get
goals a
them.
while back, and I don't see in the latest version that you put there that it's some were added, some weren't. And
Okay.
so I don't know. Do you want me to resend?
I have your comments. I think maybe we've been kind of working on drafts as we go. So some of those comments might still be embedded in our draft as we're working through them. That's why you might not see all of them yet, but we still have them tracked. And I'll
Okay, thank you.
include them. As far as the draft goals, if the steering committee has comments on those, if those could be all compiled into one document and then shared with us, that would be the easiest for us to sort through, especially if folks have comments about the same things. Just prevents repetition. Finalizing those existing
Well, let's
conditions.
just, can we step back? We need a mechanism to make that happen.
Okay.
Pam, can you do that, or are you still pretty much overwhelmed?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, I can do it.
Okay, so all comments on draft goals go to Pam.
Okay.
That would be great. And so
Okay.
we'll work on
Let's talk about sequence of events here.
I'm sorry, all comments on what?
Draft
Pam?
goals.
Oh, okay. But not the existing conditions?
Well, they,
the-
hopefully most of those are already in.
yeah. Ken,
Okay,
I
but I
think
think,
I got your comments already.
You've got Brian's, Mary's, Ken's, and mine, right?
Mhm.
And
And-
Pam has provided some, I believe. I just
Do
saw.
you not have mine?
Sorry, who was that?
That's me. Sorry, Olivia. It's Anastasia Downey.
Oh, I
Yes.
do. Yours. Yeah, I was gonna say I also have Stasha's. So
Sorry,
Thank
Stasha.
you. No worries.
I haven't done it yet, so I will do it quickly.
Okay,
Would it be good to put a, or would it get, do you think it'd get too busy if we post the draft goals to a Google Doc and have everyone just write their comments on the same document?
that's fine too.
is everybody happy with that?
Sure.
Okay,
This way we can form a consensus, or if you agree with a comment that's already there, you can initial it. So we know what's being reinforced.
Yeah.
And we don't get different, many different comments on kind of saying the same thing.
so are we gonna put that, the initial document that's already up, I guess, into the Google Drive?
Yes, I believe the existing conditions are on there, but I can double check and post those if not, and then I'll also post the draft goals so that way people can track their comments.
Okay,
on
so
Google Drive.
people go in and actually work in Google Docs in order to make comments, and then it goes back into the Google Drive.
yeah.
Okay,
It's a live edit.
right, just to
so,
save and
yeah.
that's it, right?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, so can we talk about timing on that? I don't think we need to have that in order to get out the
Yeah, I think-
publicity.
definitely before the forum.
Oh, yeah,
I think, I don't know if next Friday is too soon, maybe next,
don't put it off. Let's do it Friday.
okay, Friday
Okay.
the 6th, if everyone can
Yeah,
comments. Yeah, the goals are pretty straightforward, so it shouldn't be, it's not too it's not as long as the existing conditions, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in terms, and since that is not a requirement for publicity, I would hope that ideally it would be, the deadline is Tuesday at noon. But certainly the following Tuesday for the independent.
Mhm.
And I believe the timing is roughly the same for the item. And then
Okay, if,
we
yeah.
can put it
if
up
we-
on Conveo, we can put it, we have flyers, we'll do that again.
Sure. If you can confirm that the time and location is good to go, then I can send those to you
Yeah,
Monday, if that's
okay, and Ed, you'll talk to the church.
Yes,
Can you get back to me on Monday?
you bet.
My only concern is the daycare thing.
right.
So the churches probably can accommodate that more willingly than the school will.
I can find out if that nursery area is available.
Yeah,
There's
they no
nothing
longer have the
happening.
school, right?
I agree, but the space could be of some value.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So moving on. Yes. So, yeah, as I said, once we have all the comments, we can finalize the existing conditions and report, or put the report on, post it to Conveo. We've created the RSVP, but we can formally post that and also put that on Conveo. We can include that on the flyer too, which, I'm just trying to think of another way we
Pardon
can.
my ignorance, but can you tell me about a crowd map?
Oh, yes, the crowd map. Aksa, do you want to share your screen?
Yes, if I can have permission to share my screen. I don't think I got a chance to introduce myself to everyone. My name is Aksa. I just joined BSC Group as a planner, and I will share the community input map, which we are referring to as a crowdsourcing map. Let me see if I can share my screen. Please let me know when you all can see that.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh, yeah, let me just refresh that. So when you come on to the crowdsource map, it opens an information box up for you. I'm just going to, hold on. And this information box explains what the crowdsource map is, and it guides you through how you can provide in community input. So it says, your voice is important. We're collecting community input to understand the needs of concerns of Bolton residents for the update of the town's master plan. To begin, you have two options. One is you can upload an existing comment or observation that's submitted by a user by clicking on the heart button. And by that, we mean the comments that from existing users are going to be up here where it says this is a test. This is an example comment, and this heart is where you can upvote a comment if this is something that resonates with the residents. The second option is that if they don't see a comment that's already here, they can share a new comment by using the submit a new comment button that's down here. They get to map a new comment by selecting one of the three options from a dropdown that I'll show in a second. That's area of concern, area to preserve, or area to improve. And then they can select a point on a map where they see an area of concern or area to improve or area to preserve. There's some navigation tips here. We can use the search icon right here to find an address or place. You can use this icon right here, which is find my location, which uses your GPS to locate where you are. And you can zoom in and out to see more features such as buildings and conservation lands. You can then add comments associated with the mapped area. You can pick a topic from a dropdown, which includes different chapters, natural resources, transportation, for example. There's also an option to upload an associated photo with a mapped area. So like, for example, if you're putting a photo in as a concern for flooding, you can upload that photo. It's an optional element, and then you click report it to submit your comment. So I'm going to X out of this to show you how some of this works. So there's an existing comment here that says this is a test. You can vote here. And you can select a little heart button, and it will give you votes if if a comment resonates with you. So if you want to submit a new comment, you click the submit a comment button. You go to the drop-down menu where it says map a comment. You have the options for areas to area of concern, area to preserve or improve. You select an option, you click and add a point to the map where your area of concern or area to improve or area to preserve is. You add a comment associated with that area, you select a topic from the drop down, you can attach any photos, and then you report it. So I filled out one which says this is a test here. And that's what this little pin is, and it shows an area of concern. If you click the comment, you can see that this map area was selected as an area of concern. This is where the comment would show up, and it shows the topic area it relates to. Here you have the legend that shows the different icons related to it. So when residents share their comments, they will be able to differentiate between the area of concern, areas to improve, and areas to preserve. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Let me know if you have any questions.
Have you done this before with other towns?
This is my first time using a crowdsourced map, but I have used similar tools where people can use a pin to identify areas of concerns and topics and related elements to open space plans or community master plans or hazard mitigation plans, etc.
Axa, can you just scroll in as well to show them the capabilities
Yeah.
if they were to zoom in?
Sure. So so when you zoom in, you can start to see buildings come up. You can see more details. You can even start to see names of some features. You can start to see names of roads, conservation areas, and as you zoom out, there's less information. But right here, when you add an address, it will point you to where you are, where you want to provide comments in the town if you don't know where exactly things are located. So it has some identification elements like roadways and buildings and ponds and conservation areas, but there's also a search feature where you can find your location.
And when is something like this available? Is this something that's available 24/7 or during our forum? No.
Yep, it's always available, and this is part of our ArcGIS account. So
Okay.
we can set a date if you want to close comments, or we can keep it open. So there's a feature in there where you can say this map is open from X date to X date, or so we can decide that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Good.
I see Anastasia's hand up. Yeah.
You're muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's
And
okay.
welcome, Pam. What a way to introduce myself. Being late to the meeting and on mute, but welcome. This is awesome. I love this. And so my question to you is, where is it a link that we can just jump to this from, or is it going to be planted on Conveo?
Yeah.
So
Actually,
this is a link that we can embed into the Conveo website. So Olivia will do that. So it can be part of all the other elements that go into the website. It can also be on its own. So we have two options. We can, on the handouts, also provide a QR code at the public forum where people can scan and directly go into the web tool, and they can use their mobile phones to put this information into. So yeah.
So could I conceivably take a picture on my phone of the QR code and then fire that off to like the Bolton community page and say, hey,
Yeah.
or even just connect a link and throw that up there and say, hey, click on this, because I think this is very user friendly and quick.
It is.
And I think people will be very apt to want to
Yep.
respond here.
And then if anyone is curious about the questions that prompted you in the beginning, you can always click this question mark that's up here, and it will bring you back to that information page where it has like the guide to navigate and the steps that you need to provide comments. So hopefully, if anyone has comments that would make this more easier or user-friendly, we can add those additional information in here. But I think it's a pretty easy one to navigate. And there's a Zoom feature up here. There's a locate your feature here. So yeah, it's user-friendly. And another option we have is, in addition to having this digital map, we can have this in a paper form. So we can have a map that we put onto a foam core board on an easel at an entryway of the public forum. And that way we can, instead of the pins, we can have sticker dots that have like the area of concern, area to improve, and area to preserve. And then on that same map, we can have a QR code. So it leads you to the map that's digital, but then for people who might not want to use some technology or just comfortable with technology, they have an option to provide similar feedback in paper form. So if that's something we're interested in putting at the entrance at the public forum, that's what we can do. But that's something we can do as well.
Okay.
Just to give people more options.
Very good.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks like a very interesting tool. I mean, we use that on the Trails Committee in trail care. And it's very much the same idea.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
So we identify a location and then we have a bunch of icons and we can provide a picture and suggestions about problems with the trails.
Yep. Something that's really useful for this tool that I should also mention is this is a GIS tool. So any comments that we receive become spatial. So these points are spatial, which means we can bring them back to GIS and we have other layers that we can do analysis with. So for example, if someone puts a pin in an area that they say this is an area that floods often, we can take other GIS layers like our flooding map and actually see like if there's other layers, natural hazard layers, natural resources layers that confirm that that's an area of concern and kind of create more of an analysis of why the community's concerns align with some of the data that we found in our existing conditions. So we can use it in that way too.
Good. Okay, that's an interesting approach. And I think, again, for the people who may attend in person, they may well prefer a paper copy with stickies.
Yep, so we can do that. And on that same paper form, we can have the QR code to say, like, if you don't want to do it on the physical form, you can go to the digital, or we can have that paper one at the form.
Okay,
When it goes live, can we have a few comments on the map already so people can see what the examples are like and what the intent of it is?
Sure, so we can, yeah, you can either, the committee can send me some comments they would like me to map, or we can open this up to you guys first, and then we can have those comments before it goes on Conveo to the community. That way, if they see one of the comments from you guys and they want to upvote them, they can do that instead of like putting a new comment in. I think that feature helps because sometimes people might not be as comfortable with technology or want to map something. So if they see a comment that already exists, it's as easy as just clicking a vote button, and that's their feedback.
This is great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
actually, I think it would be good to get it out to the steering committee. I personally would like to try it out so I can speak intelligently about having done it.
Sure, and then you guys can provide feedback on if being user friendly, and we can add any other information that would be helpful in terms of navigating the site as well. This is pretty much ready, so I can publish it and send a link to Olivia, and she can coordinate that with you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
That would be very useful.
Yes.
Sounds
Cool.
good.
Okay. Olivia?
Yeah, I think, yeah, that covers the crowd map. I guess the last thing, maybe this is more for the steering committee, and it seems like you've talked about it a bit internally as well, is just making sure we really distribute flyers, especially putting hard copies around town so people can know when the forum's happening. Definitely distribute them to that stakeholders list that you guys put together. So I think that's really great. Posting it on, Facebook, around Facebook community pages, really getting the message out. So he needs any other visual materials from me to do that, please reach out and I can send you,
Okay, that brings up an interesting question, the stakeholders list. I should go back tomorrow and take a look at the stakeholders list and go back to the assigned responsibility for making those contacts. And then at the same time, make sure that we have the appropriate email to send out to those stakeholders, which include a write-up, as you've described, once we establish everything for the forum, so that they know what they're getting into and they can pass it on. That will, of course, go up into Facebook as well as Conveo. But I think the personal touch with getting that information out to the individual stakeholder group contacts is important. So in addition to venue, I'll take care of that tomorrow.
great, thank you. Yes, Sasha?
Can I just wanted to ask a quick question to make sure I've got this right. Are you pushing out the Google Doc to us, or do we need to actively find it?
With the goals?
For the goals, sorry, yeah.
Yes. I can upload, I think I have the power to upload documents on there. So I can
Good.
add the
you
goals. And then I think I have an email chain with everybody in it, so I'll just
Just
send
to
the
let us
link.
know it's there and like, it'll just get it back. This is a crazy week and I'm like, I want to make sure I get this done. And I want to make sure that, I'm putting it into the right place. So I figure if you've got a link or if, I'm happy to send my comments directly to Pam, but I went through the whole thing. I was ready to talk about it tonight and I'm fine with sending it in a written form. But definitely, some of the things would be long and I just want to make sure that I have enough time to get them all in there. So thank you.
Olivia, if you can send out an email identifying the location in the Google Drive of this.
Yeah.
And then basically a series of instructions about how to deal with it, which shouldn't require more than 4 steps.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
think-
you.
good. Okay, I think that covers everything up to item 4 on the agenda. The land use grant announcement. Pam, you just contacted our speaker, Randall Aaron. For those of you who don't know, the state provided us with funding. We applied back in May to have Randall Aaron, the landscape architect, very well-renowned landscape architect, do 2 things. One of which is to review all of our land use bylaws and regulations, subdivision regulations, as well as any others, and then convene a workshop in Bolton for all interested parties to talk about more appropriate mechanisms for planning for residential housing, different types of housing, different ways of doing it, that both addresses the need for housing and the need to maintain the character of the town. He did this, Ed, 4 years ago, 3 years ago in Harvard.
Seems like about 3. Yeah.
And it was an extremely good workshop, which amounted to it became a charrette where he had groups break out and using the guidelines he had provided to actually do their own layout of types of housing on a plot plan. And then he critiqued it and showed, in that case, and I would assume this case, it's actually a project he has done and has come to fruition. So he could talk about what ultimately happened and how it happened. So it's sort of, I don't know if I'd call it's phosphid on steroids, but it goes way beyond that. It talks about different types of housing, condominium housing with small lots, but lots and lots of open space so that you get more people in a particular area without significantly impacting the area in terms of its character and open space and land use. So we'll work out when that occurs. That's the next step. And I believe, Pam, you got his signed proposal back today.
Yes.
Okay, last but not least, Mr. Troop had sent out the minutes. They were also provided in Pam's email. Were there any comments on those minutes?
I had just one.
Go ahead.
It's just a typo, so super quick. It's under Form 3 planning. It says nothing. I think it should be noting. It's just a typo.
Oh. It significantly changes the context.
Since you asked, I thought I'd throw it out there.
However, Mr. Troop, you've done an outstanding job. Painfully over, boy, we're approaching our 4th anniversary. Ugh.
He's been a good duty. Ken,
Happy
the
to do it.
community center, you had importation rule. I'm assuming you corrected that to important.
I haven't done anything, so
Oh, okay.
if
Sorry.
you got, important versus, okay,
It was the second sentence, the last word in the second to last word in the second sentence.
okay. All right,
Any other,
so those two
amendments?
things then,
Yep,
that could be worse. Okay,
Just
that was
okay.
terrific.
I'll send a revision of it.
So
Or
with
send it,
those
I'll
additions.
send the
and
revision to
corrections-
Pam, right? Is
Yes,
that the way to do it? Okay.
that's it. Yep,
Would you like me to move that we approve the minutes
I certainly would, Penny.
as edited?
Yes.
Sure.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
None.
I was gonna say, if you're opposed, you can't go home.
Right.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Oh, Ken, just a minute, hold it.
Well-
You haven't reminded me the next meeting.
True.
That's true, you're right.
Because you keep moving it, Robert.
Rewind the clock.
So we're gonna unadjourn for a second here.
Yeah.
Well, we at least get a preliminary estimate of when the next meeting might be.
Presumably you want it before the 23rd, right?
Yes,
So
so
the week of, the previous week then, the Wednesday or Thursday or something like that?
Thursday of the previous week,
The 19th.
yeah.
Yep, I can do
Does
it.
that sound good?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the initial preliminary to be confirmed meeting date.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
Aye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Oxen. Thank you, Olivia.
I know.
Good to
Welcome.
meet you, Jackson.